Do you think MSM will change their views on you after this? I feel like you were doing good, making waves in MSM lately. No. If you noticed a lot of the outlets that have like covered this or attempted to cover this without any sort of consideration for like defamation, and it's also so objectively untrue that it doesn't really matter ultimately.
Closely match the ET300 Mini Educator half-mile remote e-collar, which does have shock prongs. It seems to match in shape, in the positioning.
The greatest antidote to slander is observable reality.
Observable reality.
Nice. Grabs the thing. Get back there. What is this? Don't worry.
I mean that's 100% right.
Yeah.
And then Hasan got canceled. For what? Or for Kaya. That's a disaster. I've been seeing that shit all over my timeline. But he cleared his name.
Sure about that? You sure about that? You sure about that?
I don't know. I don't know about that. All right, I'm tired. Let's get this over with. This is like the third time I've had to talk about Hasan, and it just keeps getting worse. He doesn't make it easier for himself in any way, shape, or form. I actually had a comment. What are you doing? Sorry about that. She was like 3 feet from me and like freaking the fuck out about literally nothing and then walked away. Anyway, basically, I got this comment the other day and I thought it was pretty ironic. And at the beginning, the bottom of the comment, I don't really give a shit about the rest. The bottom of the comment, it says watch anything Hasan or fan channels have released in the last 24 hours. You'd be amazed how little he gives a fuck, right? And I took notice of that. I took note of that. I was like, okay, maybe Hasan doesn't give a fuck, but the rest of us are kind of like looking at it and thinking, you know, it's kind of weird the way he's reacting, and it's not like a normal way to react. And I think most people across the internet agree that through and through, he's kind of been a little off, a little weird about everything. And he kind of like brushes it off like, it's not a big deal. You guys are just the weird ones. And it seems like most of the deflecting seems to be an attack or an insult on the person kind of looking into it. And I find that to be odd behavior, considering he set up 4 cameras in his room if he doesn't give a fuck. It is also a week later, might I add. I get, you know, that you can have a little funny bit, but dragging it on this long, Jesus fucking Christ, dude. It doesn't feel like it's a joke anymore. It's starting to feel a little too fucking real. And to be honest, I want to keep this about how he's reacting now and how everyone around him is reacting now and the people defending him, the people against him. I want to keep it current. I don't want to talk about his previous interactions with other people, other content creators, his other actions, whatever, right? I can go on and on about that all day, and honestly it will get into that a little bit here because some of the clips do kind of like add up, but I think my points in my previous 2 videos do stand on their own. And I do want to address something here, because in that comment I was referred to as a slop tuber. And honestly, I'm not putting a lot of fucking effort into these things. I have a full-time job. What do you want from me? My point being is the term doesn't seem to be rooted in any purpose other than to discredit the other person that you're speaking with without having to face any repercussion of someone going, hey, you didn't actually address what they're saying. You could be like, no, they just put out garbage. It doesn't actually matter. And without having to elaborate, you just kind of go, whatever. It's not a big deal. I think this is evidenced by the fact that Hasan does use this himself to the point where it no longer has its meaning because he decided he was going to use it so much he pretty much called Elon Musk a slop tuber. That's right. The guy who owns fucking Twitter and shit and who shit posts all fucking day like he's the government. Yeah, no, he's a slop tuber, guys. It's very evident. So evident. The most evident. Anyway, you are not here to hear my opinion. You're here about what's happening in the world. And that's going to be the vile reactions from the more toxic parts of Hasan's community, because I can't say that every single part of his is absolutely horrendous and horrific. Can you foster a community that's primarily like that? Absolutely. But I have no real evidence to say and no way to gauge that Hasan's chat is purely full of psychopaths, right? And you could say like, oh, it's pretty obvious, just look at the chat. And I really have no way to gauge that. The reality is, though, the more toxic parts of his community have pretty much gone out of the way to attack Moist Critical for his commentary on what's happening. Just blatantly putting out what's out there and going, hey guys, this looks pretty bad. See ya. Can you really be surprised? He's talking about everything at this point. That's what he does. He's talking about the stars and the moon, UFO, aliens, and shit coming down. The government trying to butt fuck you. You know, my hopes and dreams of becoming a voice actor and being on the radio. My left ass cheek, your left ass cheek. He's talked about it all. Speaking of voice acting, I do have the vocal booth back up, and I will start recording videos in there soon. So if you haven't already subscribed for those, I highly recommend doing so and sticking around, letting me know in the comments what I can do to improve on the content. Like if you like it, dislike it, dislike. Moist Critical puts out his opinion. He's got other content going on at the time, and a few days later he puts out his 2 cents on the whole situation, and I think it's pretty fair. You know, there's a lot going on at the time for him. Hasan gets the info that he has done such a terrible thing of putting out his opinion and having an opinion on something based on plenty of shit all over the internet, and he goes, well, actually, the only reason he thinks what he thinks is because it's the majority rule. And the reaction from the defense community here was so unbelievably toxic that one of the moderators for the Moist Critical subreddit had to actually step down and address what's going on. I was like, dude, I can't fucking do this. I gotta step away. You guys are fucking out of your minds. I can't continue to put up with this shit. And speaking of toxic people and toxic individuals, I find the reaction from other streamers to be pretty interesting. Valkyrie is someone I do want to address here as well. First situation she got herself into was making herself appear like she was virtue signaling, and this was evident by the idea that she was talking about the dog and was like, you know, I don't understand why everyone's freaking out about the dog so much. You think more people would be upset about what's happening in Gaza, guys? Don't you care? As if you're not able to have an opinion on both at the same time. And also, war is a concept, as an event that's happening right now over in the Middle East, isn't a content creator. It's fucking color me surprised. Now, does she need to be in the loop of everything all of the time? Absolutely not. That would be ridiculous to ask of her. She does content full time. Maybe if she's talking about said things, you know, if she's not primarily the kind of content creator, based on what I've seen, she's not. So I don't really see the point of throwing the 2 cents in on something you didn't really know a whole lot about and then having to backtrack on shit like that. It's kind of ridiculous. Anyway, the reaction from the chat and her fan base is pretty vitriolic, in which she decided she was going to reach out to people like Asmongold because, quote, the Reddit people. Oh my god, dude. I don't know if I can go on if I got referred to as a Reddit person. And of course, once she told people, which I thought was an absolutely abhorrent thing to do, she was like, hey, I reached out to Asmongold, I didn't know how to handle the drama, I didn't know how to address it. And in certain situations like these, in my opinion, it's best to just like put your head down and be like, my bad, guys. I won't be saying stupid shit like that anymore. I'll just inform myself next time before I speak on it, and then move on. And then it's blown up into this thing where people are like, "You talk to Asmongold? That guy's fucking horrible. Are you out of your mind?" And honestly, I think addressing that reaction was even worse than just flat out the first thing. I think having addressed that made it significantly worse for herself, and it seems like the chat just kind of wants to control her and who she interacts with. First of all, motherfucker, she's a grown adult. She can interact with whoever the fuck she wants, right? And I get she's not shaking hands with fucking Joseph Stalin or anything. I understand that. It's pretty obvious. But they're fucking acting like it. And I get, you know, there's plenty of things that you do and don't agree with Asmongold on, right? There are plenty of things I don't agree with Asmongold on. Absolutely. But I'm not going to freak the fuck out at another person who interacts with him for it. I'm not going to be like, oh, you messaged him? Are you out of your fucking mind, you lunatic? All she did was ask a dude who's notorious enough to have the Reddit guy title, a thing about Reddit, and then it's like if I asked his son, like, hey, dude, you know a lot about computers. You talk a lot about computers very often, and you're very well versed in it. Can you explain DDR5 to me for a video? Because I seem to have fucked up and pissed off some of the tech community, just rushing it off and saying it's a nonsense buzzword. And then he comes through, he goes, well, actually, this is the thing that they're referring to. And I'm like, oh shit, that makes sense. You know, someone goes, are you out of your fucking mind?
Right now is crazy after reaching to Asmin. Guys, listen, I don't agree with many things that he says, but I was looking for an LSF Reddit expert. I asked 2 people. I asked Nick and Asmin, and they both said to not respond to the thread because I didn't know if it was a good idea or not. Like, I don't know, man. I just wanted advice because I didn't know what to do. I'm just gonna get hate no matter what I do, bro.
You can tell she's just annoyed and done with this stuff, and I get it. I totally would be too. Totally understandable. She did handle some of this shit pretty poorly, and it is what it is. You know, this is the way things go. Pokimane had unfortunately had one of her podcast episodes for Sweet and Sour delayed indefinitely. I say delayed indefinitely because it's probably going to be uploaded at a later time. That featured Hasan. Now the staff, according to her, decided that they did not want to air the episode, and she threw her staff under the bus, which I thought was pretty disgusting considering her staff does not have the same protections that she would. Protections meaning, of course, she's a multi-millionaire. They are not. So regardless of who shits on her or what happens, she's always going to have the funds to take care of herself. Whereas the staff, on the other hand, in cases like this, as you can probably already tell, do not. And she threw her staff under the bus. It was just essentially like, actually, the people who made this decision not to air this episode due to criticisms was my staff. I have nothing to do with it. I will be restructuring, which is corporate speak for someone's getting fucking fired. You ever hear the phrase, the captain goes down with the ship? Not in this one. No, not at all. Fuck that staff. I may be the face of everything here, but fuck my staff. Yeah.
Reaching for in the clip. What do you think? That's where all my fucking Zintins are.
Anyway, to begin wrapping it up here, I think I want to point this out. It's pretty obvious that something a little fucky's going on here. First, it started with she got her claw stuck, or dew claw stuck, you know. Then now it's I've reached for a Zin, and then it's actually the collar is a vibrate-only collar the next day, by the way. Then it was, it's a gate button, and now it's a shock collar with the prongs removed, as evidenced by QT Cylinderella, who obviously was trying to defend Hasan, and then just made the whole fucking narrative fall apart here. And what also helps, I understand wanted to keep it current, but this definitely supports the idea that Zintins are conveniently off to the left-hand side, as well as there seems to be a remote on the left-hand side of the desk, which does give evidence that he has been reaching for something on the left. Can it change positions? Absolutely, but if it changed position, it would be on the right side of his desk, in which people could see on the camera. And in a Christmas stream in this clip here, as you can see, he is moving something out of the way when he does a top-down view camera. For whatever reason, he decided he was going to leave it right there, and it does give credibility to people saying that there's a shock collar. There's a shock collar button right there, that he's actually reaching for a gate or something, or a Zin, when the remote is right there and Lonerbox found the exact remote.
There's no shock, like the electric prongs are taken out of it.
But here's my thing, right?
Like it's only a vibrate, like there's a setting for vibrate and there's a setting for
True,
shock.
that's a fact, that's a fact.
So there's only since the prongs are in it only vibrates.
So, like I said, we've gone through all of these different scenarios that it actually only has a vibrate-only function and all this other shit. And now that we've accidentally confirmed that there are, in fact, prongs somewhere. They exist. They 100% exist, which was most people's theory that he could have just taken them out. He easily still could have. Easily could have not. But instead of showing the collar day one, like I said in my first video, he decided he was going to show it the second day, off camera, is when I could have done anything. Anyway, do with that information what you will. I'd like to thank you for watching all the way through. Like if you like it, dislike it, dislike it. Let me know what I can do to improve on the content. Subscribe to stick around. I am still working on other videos. The Battlefield and, of course, the Dying Light content is still coming. I'm still working on it. I do apologize, but I'd like to very much thank you for sticking around. It means a lot to me, and it means a lot I get to have some time to get back into content creation. Take it easy. See ya.